don't have.
Yeah.
They have three of their essentially most experienced elite players. Antoine Davis is not here. Marcelo Sanchez is not here. Greg Cohen is not here. So it's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility falling onto the shoulders of some of these younger guys. I would love to see Chartok have a game where he really asserted himself. From what we've seen so far, he has great throws, great poise. Maybe this is going to be one of those games where he really sort of rises and lets everyone know that he is also kind of a boss in the AUDL.
Sure. And then for the Growlers, a familiar face to Bay Area Ultimate fans, Sean Hamm, who won a 2015 AUDL title with the Spiders, off to another superlative start with 13 goals.
Sean Hamm,
The month of April wraps up here at home for the AUDL champion San Francisco Flamethrowers as they welcome the San Diego Growlers to Laney College here in Oakland. Alongside Matt Ruby, my name is Stephen Davies, and for the Flamethrowers Rubes, a chance to get back on track after a comprehensive loss to last year's runners-up in the AUDL, the Toronto Rush, who outclassed the Flamethrowers with a 28-18 victory.
You know, Toronto traveled cross-country last weekend with some revenge on their mind. They were 1 point short from an AUDL championship at the hands of these same Flamethrowers. The outcome was probably predictable considering that Toronto brought back essentially their entire team from last year's nearly championship team, and the Flamethrowers have undergone some pretty serious personnel turnover.
Meanwhile, for the Growlers, they're on the second game of a back-to-back. A disappointing result for them last night. They were up by 5 in the second quarter of play, but lost to the Spiders in overtime. Do they have anything left in the tank for tonight?
The second half of a back-to-back is always very, very rough. I think when the game starts out, they're going to be carried by emotion. They're going to have a lot of energy. Right around halfway through the second quarter, I think we'll see whether or not they've got anything left in the tank. But we talked to Coach Kevin Stewart. He's got a couple of tricks up his sleeve. He's got a couple of zones and interesting defenses he can throw. If there's ever a time to throw the kitchen sink at a team, it's on the second half of a back-to-back.
One bright spot for the Flamethrowers this season has been the handler Elliot Chartok, 13 assists, 168 completions. Talk a little bit about his role on tonight's game.
Well, let's also talk a little bit about who the Flamethrowers don't have. They have 3 of their essentially most experienced elite players. Antoine Davis is not here. Marcelo Sanchez is not here. Greg Cohen is not here. So it's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility falling onto the shoulders of some of these younger guys. I would love to see Chartok have a game where he really asserted himself. From what we've seen so far, he has great throws, great poise. Maybe this is going to be one of those games where he really sort of rises and lets everyone know that he is also kind of a boss in the AUDL.
And then for the Growlers, a familiar face to Bay Area Ultimate fans, Sean Hamm, who won a 2015 AUDL title with the Spiders, off to another superlative start with 13 goals.
Sean Hamm, we watched him throwing earlier in the warm-ups here. He's not any bigger than me. He doesn't look like that intimidating a presence. But what he does have is timing, and he has the trust of his throwers. So if they see him with a step, or maybe even going head-to-head with an individual, they're going to put that disc up with a lot of faith that he's going to go run it down and make the play and score the goal.
The Flamethrowers then looking to make it 7 consecutive victories against the Growlers. They're also looking for their first victory here at home this season. Opening poll and the starting lineups coming up following these messages here on 11 Sports.
Our smiles can light up a room. Our work can light up an entire city. We're the men and women of the IBEW, working with a code of excellence that guarantees the job will be done right, on time, and safely. We're lighting the path to the future. Let us show you just how bright that path is.
One of our successes has always been able to find the B personalities, and the B personality just stands for Butler, which means fitting into our organization. We could have been a much bigger company if we had chosen to be, but it's been the philosophy of both myself, Bill, and the leadership team to stay at a size that we really know all of our team members and their family members, because we're only as good as the team member sitting next to us.
Welcome back to Laney College. We are all set then for opening pull here in Week 5 of the 2018 AUDL season. The San Francisco Flamethrowers a record of 1-2 overall. San Diego are 2-2. So the Growlers won the toss. They will receive the opening pull. There is a look at Cody Kirkland, one of the few, Matt Ruby, that's still around from the regular roster here. A lot of changes for the Flamethrowers as we take a look at the starting lineups here on offense for the Growlers and on D for the Flamethrowers.
Wait, if you look at the Flamethrowers roster, I would say they're missing 6 of their top 9 players. Different guys are going to have to step up today, guys who maybe are not accustomed to taking that leadership role or being in the spotlight. It's going to be interesting to see how they react to this adversity of being somewhat short-manned.
Two of the biggest names, of course, not on the roster tonight for the Flamethrowers. Marcelo Sanchez, unbelievably, this is going to be the first game he's missed as a member of the Flamethrowers. He won the Steel Spirit Award 3 years in a row for perfect attendance here in the AUDL, and that really is a remarkable achievement. But Sanchez, away coaching the Las Positas College Hawks, so we wish him all the best. Antoine Davis out as well. But Cody Kirkland will get us underway here on what actually has turned into a fairly nice day here at Laney College. It was cloudy and overcast, a hint of drizzle this afternoon, but it really has turned into quite the evening here. The Growlers working on the second game of a back-to-back. They're in the white uniforms going from right to left on your screen. This is Tim Okita in possession. He'll dish it to Matt Parisi. Parisi draws a double team, now finds Travis Dunn, a player we'll be certainly talking about in stride here today. What a season he's had so far. But the Growlers are 2-2, missed a big opportunity last night, Rubes, to really take command of the division lead.
Yeah, they were up 5 goals in the second quarter against San Jose of their first of 2 road games.
And there's our first goal of the evening, and it's a one-handed catch there for Jake Gutkowski. That will be his 6th goal of the season. And the Growlers take the early lead here inside of the first minute.
Well, that was a downwind goal for San Diego. They're going to just kind of easily work it up one side, and a pretty simple little forehand for a goal there. Little lefty forehand blade. The wind is blowing from our screen right to left, and it's sort of working its way, almost kind of tacking at almost a 45-degree angle across the field. So the closest side of the field that's going to be closest to the bottom of our screen is basically, we refer to that as the downwind side. The farther sideline is going to be the upwind side. You want to try to operate your offenses from the upwind side, given every opportunity.
First look at the O-line then for the Growlers, or for the Flamethrowers, excuse me. And in possession is a man that might have a big hand in tonight's game on offense, Elliot Chartok. He'll exchange passes with one of the ringers, if you like, that's been brought in here to supplement this Flamethrowers roster, Nick Schlag, a guy you're familiar with in particular.
Yeah, and when Nick Schlag was in his prime playing for Revolver, he was arguably one of the best handlers in Ultimate. He also had the opportunity to play.
Alex Grande flicks this one long, giving chase and making the one-handed catch for the goal.
That was Chartok, actually.
It's going to be Vincenzo Vitiello, his first goal of the day and his 4th of the season so far.
Well, as I was saying, here comes that goal. This is going to be a backhand from Chartok. He's got the wind at his back again. So far, just exchanging some downwind goals here. We'll see how these guys are looking and handling the wind once they start their working their way upwind. Downwind is always going to be a little easier than working upwind. But you were talking about the folks who have been brought in to supplement the folks that are missing from the roster. There are 3 veterans, Yo Kawaoka, who was the last year's coach, Eric Greenwood, who has experience playing for both the Flamethrowers and the MLU's Dogfish, and as we mentioned, Nick Schlag. I coached all 3 of those guys in the first season of the San Francisco Dogfish this season, so I'm familiar with them. And this is Schlag's AUDL debut, despite having played a lot of Ultimate and winning a lot of titles over the course of his career.
Yo Kawaoka, of course, the coach of last year's Flamethrowers team that went all the way to the AUDL Championship, beating the Toronto Rush in the final. And Kawaoka, such a legend around here, Rubes, he doesn't even need to wear a number on his jersey.
Nope.
Here's a huck downfield. Can this stay up long enough for Radlauer? And it does. And the man that's really made an impact for the San Diego team in this young season so far, the man out of UC San Diego, Scott Radlauer, with his 6th goal of the season.
Well, we were talking to some of the San Diego guys, and UC San Diego has a rich history of Ultimate. They've been a good team for a long time. This is just another downwind off a pretty poor pull that sets him up at the 50. Radlauer just runs right by his guy, works his way to the back of the end zone. Radlauer's nickname is, let me make sure I pronounce this right, Omari.
Yes, sir.
UC San Diego has a tradition of giving every guy on their team a nickname, and we'll be represented here by Crouton, Nos, Quad, Flakes, and Omari. I want to know how you get a nickname Crouton. You must really like salad.
Yeah, something, right?
Or soup.
Caesar salad. Yeah. It's Tim Okita there on the assist, by the way, as we're back underway. So the 2 teams exchanging goals here early on. We're just a minute and a half into this first period of play. Chartok has the plastic. And this throw will stay up, and a lovely diving catch there by Gival. Give all back to Jacob Greenberg. We'll talk about him here in a little bit. Greenberg with the assist, and a strike in the corner will be a goal for Alexander Max. That's his first goal of the season.
Seeing a lot of new faces here. This is a nice catch by Gavol. The defender has a shot to make a play on this, and Gavol kind of has to come back and get it. And then it's just a matter of, it's kind of a jailbreak situation there. Greenberg throws a backhand here instead of a forehand to the right side of his body, which maybe is a little risky, but he's an experienced guy. Experienced enough to play on the Swedish national team, in fact.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, sorry to trump you on that one.
No worries. The Flamethrowers' first international player. Played 6 years with the Swedish national team. I think we even saw him rocking the 2016 World shirt there before.
Yeah, he had his World's jersey on
here
for warm-ups, yep.
Well, blinking you miss it. 4 goals here in the early going.
The wind is definitely a factor here. You can see these poles are not even reaching the 20-yard line, and that's going to set up a short shot for most of these handlers going downfield with the wind at their back. Any of these guys can throw a 60-yard pass without any trouble.
Sean Hamm is making the cut downfield. He's attracted the attentions here of Skylar Taylor. Hamm now into the end zone is possessing the disc here. Will be Tim Okita, threw an assist earlier. Now make that a second one, as is Wes Groth with his first goal of the evening and his second overall this season.
This is a really nice throw. It's got you can see a little chemistry between those two guys, because Okita throws that basically before the cutter even starts working downfield, but what they both recognize is that Barry, who's playing defense, has his back to the disc. When you have your back to the disc against a skilled thrower, they can pretty much place it where they want. So Okita just puts that out to space and lets Smith run underneath it. He sees this setup right here. This cut starts a little late, and he's just going to bend that and let that sit. And look at that sit right in the breadbasket for an easy catch.
Okita had just the 3 assists coming in, and he already has 2 tonight, so 5 on the season for Okita.
When we were talking to Coach Stewart earlier, we asked him who should we watch out for, and he mentioned Okita as one of those names. He said he's got kind of a young crop of handlers here, and so far they've shown up and played well.
Yeah, he was disappointed with how things transpired in San Jose last night, especially as you mentioned with the 5-goal lead. This one looking for Kyle Smith, and it's taken away. Nicely done there by Jacob Greenberg.
Wow. Not a lot of D to start this game. My goodness, both teams are just bombing it with abandon here. This is Greenberg just staying with the play. Lavore drags his man in, and Greenberg just kind of cleans up the trash there. That's what you want to do, though. You don't want to give up on a play, because the thing about Frisbees is they tend to float when you don't expect them to.
Considering Greenberg has only played in 36 points coming into tonight, he already has 6 goals on the season, so the Flamethrowers perhaps needing a spark at times on this young season so far. I've definitely found it in the form of the Swedish international. But going back quickly to last night, I think Coach Stewart was most disappointed with the collapse of his team after taking the 8-3 lead and then unable to score a goal in overtime, saying consistency is key for his team here tonight. And if they can get a 90% or better completion rate, he feels that their chances are pretty good in this game.
San Diego just marching it upfield again here. Not a lot of D. All the defenders are playing behind their guys. They're really worried about the huck. They're going to have to start pressuring these guys a little bit. Otherwise, they're just going to give up 10 or 15 yard underneath passes routinely.
Sean Hamm makes a cut downfield. There's a swing over to Michael Tran. Oh, and just thrown underneath there. A mistake there by Gutkowski.
Weird-looking throw. It looked like it almost got tapped by his marker, but a very odd-looking release there.
Tim Okita was the intended target, so break for the Flamethrowers here. This is Cullen Coyne. He's wearing 33, excuse me. He'll dish it off to Raj Matra. A lot of new faces here tonight. Alex Grande has the disc for the Flamethrowers. Dumps this one off to Yo Kawaoka.
Now they want to work it to the upwind side here, and you notice when Kawaoka got that disc, he doesn't give up looking to the upwind side. He's going to try to work it up there, and Greenberg puts it to the upwind side as well.
A perfectly positioned throw there. Nicely done here by the Flamethrowers. Coyne has the disc. Schlag has made a cut down the right side of the field. Back to Grande, and Grande is in there for the goal.
I believe that was Greenberg. Scores. I believe that was Greenwood that threw that goal.
So Max, Greenberg, Grande, Vitiello, the scorers for the Flamethrowers so far here as they capitalize on the Growlers' mistake to take a 4-3 lead.
Weird turnover. These guys are pretty skilled throwers. When you see a disc come off of an experienced player's hand and it does something kind of wonky, you just have to assume that the disc got tapped by his marker, or he just didn't have a firm grip on it. I sometimes called it the exploding forehand. Sometimes you'd see somebody wind up and really try to bomb something and the disc just like flips off his hand in a weird way. It's pretty unusual. So the wind is not a huge factor going upwind there. They seem to be able to work it upwind pretty easily.
This one goes out of bounds. One thing we've noticed here, Rubes, in our time doing games here at Laney College, especially this time of day, is the wind does seem to subside a little bit as we move into the evening hours.
The wind seems to have sort of, I call it strata, where there's areas on the field where there's like a 10 or 15 foot sort of, layer.
Oh, nicely done there by the Flamethrowers. They're on the move now with Vitiello. Quick exchange of passes now. Cameron Beck's over to Skylar Taylor. Taylor has to dump this one off here to Ben Schofstein.
Nice fake. Get it over. There we go. Now they've got it. Now they're in business. They just got to work it to the upwind side,
which they've done nicely.
They want to try to keep it up there.
Andrew Barry has the disc. Now to Phil Chang. He's wearing 43 for the Flamethrowers, and they missed the bid attempt in the end zone. Unfortunate there. Vitiello was looking for a second goal and just could not extend and reel that one in.
That was the psychological announcer's jinx, because I was just about to say how patient they had been.
Ring those bells, folks. Give them some help.
Oh. Wow. I don't know how that got through. There's a call, an injury, it looks like.
So we got a collision here on the field, and looks like Skylar Taylor and who's that for? Looks like number 22, Wes Groth. The starters on the D-line here for San Diego.
This is a great example of why you don't want to have the disc on the downwind side, because this is a little kind of wristy backhand that they tried to put up up that sideline right into the teeth of the wind, and it floats. And it's very lucky that San Diego came up with the catch there.
So Taylor there actually fell on Groth, which compounded that problem there. It wasn't a hefty collision like we saw last week with Greg Cohen, who coincidentally is out of this game with a concussion protocol. In the concussion protocol, I should say.
Yeah. Coach Greenhouse said he just ran into a defender, just had his head turned and got picked, and got his bell rung.
And Hunter Corbett also out, suffering a knee injury. He'll be gone for a couple more weeks, so his injury woes continue, as of course he was a former member of the Growlers in 2017. Back to the action here. They swing this over to the far side. Now Michael Tran has the disc.
He's going to really continue. See how he held on that? And he really intentionally worked it to that upwind side. They want to keep it up there.
Will Turner hucks this one, and it'll stay up and too far there for Sean Hamm, who had Maxwell Hume, excuse me. Sean Hamm, incidentally, a quiet night last night in San Jose. No goals, just one assist.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Former player for the Spiders. Maybe they knew what he likes to do and had a game plan in place for him.
Alexander Max taking that off the shoestrings, and a mistake there by Phil Chang deflects into the hands of Milotovic, who made his season debut for the Growlers last night. Now Michael Tran has the disc for the Growlers now, approaching the midpoint of the first period of play. Milotovic.
Nice mark.
Oh, and an error from him then as he tries to swing it to Tran. It's out of his reach. He was being defended there by Schofstein.
Coming in a double team. What beats a double team is not this throw, it's the next one right here.
Gets to the upwind side. Now to Phil Chang.
Chang just had a drop, so he's got it in his mind. Oh,
nice D there, lay. Now,
great block.
That's Will Turner. And just
a little sloppy here.
Yeah, just all of a sudden the errors have really started to pile up for both teams, and a timeout is called. And that's going to be called by Coach Stewart then. The Flamethrowers with a 4-3 lead. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more right after this. Back to the action here from Laney College. Here in the first quarter as the Flamethrowers have a 4-3 lead. But a couple of error-strewn passages of play here for both teams. And the Growlers now trying to slow things down here with Maxwell Hume, and the commentators jinx strikes once again.
I know they're trying to work it to the upwind side, but they have, once the disc works its way to the middle of the field, you want what's called a continuation cut. You want one other person who's going to be open, who's working to an open area. Wow.
And doing really well to reel that one in there. Great was catch. Alexander Max. And he had a defender there. Maxwell Hume draped all over him. Vitiello. Oh, that's a nice throw and a great catch there by Andrew Barry for his 5th goal of the season.
If I am either coach, I'm taking my teams aside at some point and asking them to concentrate when they're throwing, because we've seen, what, 3 or 4 errant passes that are really sort of unacceptable here. It's a nice little timing throw there from Vitiello. He does not hesitate. Guns it up there for Barry to make the catch. But the wind is blowing kind of this way. It's working its way from right to left, also at a bit of an angle. And if you get the front edge up, going, on this portion of the field, that disc is going to pop and it's going to float. And that was an example of that. We saw when that collision occurred. Just a little kind of a wrister throw. You get the front edge up. Mm-hmm. It does not go where you want.
There we go.
So 5 different scores now for the Flamethrowers in this opening period. And this motley crew of of players is actually looking fairly composed here so far. Travis Dunn over to Tim Okita. Back to Dunn.
Okita's left-handed, which might be sort of an advantage. Ooh, wow.
And a drop there by Wes Groth. He's been involved in a couple of errors so far tonight, but Flamethrowers here, opportunity to perhaps double their advantage. This one goes long, looking for Cullen Coyne, who makes the catch.
There's a call.
And the travel is called.
So a whistle was blown. It's a delay of game. So Kawaoka threw it before the disc was blown live. I'm not sure why. Oh, it's because it went out of bounds. It was a turnover that went out of bounds. It needs to be whistled live again. He can't just run in to the field of play and then throw it.
Thought the old coach might get away with one there, huh, Roops?
Restart again.
This is an opportunistic double team. Kawaoka is actually left-handed. He switches hands to throw a righty hammer there. This is what Coach Stewart was talking about, how he sometimes might double team opportunistically. We just saw it there.
Back to Kawaoka.
Not much happening downfield.
Grande has to send it back to Kawaoka. Find some space to work with.
Now, ideally, Canizato would have a continuation there. Oh, nice dig. Ideally, when that disc moves to the middle of the spot where Canizato just had it, he would have someone else who's open running into that open area on the top half of the field on the upwind side. That's what we call continuation in ultimate, where you get it, you turn, and you immediately see an open person.
Matt Parisi there on the D for San Diego. Just about 2 minutes remaining in the quarter. Josh Cole.
Oh, someone's very open.
Done. Someone is very open. It's Wes Groth. Can he make the catch this time? And he can. Wes Groth, his second.
Take advantage.
And San Diego back to within one.
Flamethrowers 5, Growlers 4.
Some sort of defensive mix-up occurred there where Kawaoka dropped off and Raj Mitra might have gotten their wires crossed where they both thought they should be covering the same person. And then Groth just starts running deep and he knows he is wide open. Kawaoka is kind of trailing the play there, and that might be where the miscommunication occurred. So far, both teams scoring pretty easily.
We'll take a break and back with more here in a moment.
And here's the poll.
Welcome back to Laney College. Wes Groth's second goal of the game closes the deficit to 1, but another short pull coming from the east end of the field, the left side of your screen, will result in good field position here for the Flamethrowers.
Chartok is certainly capable of reaching the end zone with one throw here, especially with the wind at his back. San Diego's defense are really sloughing into the lane here. You'll see 5 white bodies. There's that zone. It looks like maybe a 2-2-3 zone where they're just trying to take the Flamethrowers out of their initial play if they had one set. Still staying in it here.
Nick Schlag has the disc.
Now they're in man.
But it dumps it off. He's unable to do so. And coming up with it there was Ryan Lacey. Now Chartok and the rest of the Flamethrowers have to regroup. They thread that inside. That's to Nate Page. And another mistake by the Growlers. They're certainly not helping their cause here in this first period. Bruce.
No, I think that they come out with that unusual kind of junky defense, and it works. It results in a turnover with only 40 yards to go with the disc on the upwind side.
Here's Max. Back to Chartok. Gival is to his left. And Chartok unleashes one, and that's just a little bit too strong there.
Oh, what a good throw. Wow, great vision from Chartok because he has to bend that inside out around Max's defender, and he puts it in a spot where Max is really the only guy who can make a play on it. Just a little too far. Maybe a little too much wind at his back.
So Steven Miladovich has the disc. Over to Will Turner.
Now, they don't want it here. A nice bid.
Down here on the near side is Lacey. Now to Rubin.
Nice bid from Gavol, a little late.
Turner gets there for the Growlers.
Now here's that continuation I'm talking about. Perfect.
Laying out there with the bid, Nate Page. Page will bring it back to the middle now for Rubin.
Kind of a botched switch there that opens up the break side.
Miladovich on the doorstep across to Maxwell Hume. And that's Hume's first goal. And 4 different scores for the Growlers as they've tied it up at 5 apiece.
Kind of a botched handoff there between the two defenders where one is lagging a little bit behind the play. And maybe a little miscommunication. That opens up that upwind break side. We refer to, in Ultimate, there's going to be a force side and a break side. The break side is where you're trying to prevent the team from getting the disc on that half of the field. So this around break goes off easily, and Miladovich as an easy goal.
3 goals, 3 assists, 2 Ds last night. Played 21 points in his debut for the Growlers here in 2018, and is being involved here for San Diego in the early going. Let's look at Coach Josh Greeno. They're having a quick word with Cameron Beck.
So they only have 17-second stop right here.
Flamethrowers trying to pull one out here before the end of the quarter. Can they do so? Kirkland is calling for the disc. He gets it.
Kirkland can jack it. There it is.
There it is. Downfield is Vitiello. He might be in the best position of the 3. They wait it out, and it is Vitiello makes a catch.
Catch is made.
And he just bided his time there, Rubes.
It's always the guy trailing the play. It's always the guy trailing the play. The guys that gather under the disc, they're out of position and they're flat-footed. So they don't have a good opportunity to make a read. Someone that's trailing the play can see what's happening in front of him. He can see where the crowd is forming. He can see the path of the disc. So he is going to just hang out in the back there and wait for the junk. And great call on your part. You saw Vitiello coming in. Everybody runs under it. He barely even has to jump.
Vincenzo Vitiello's second goal of the quarter, and some fireworks here at the end of the first from Laney College in Oakland. The Flamethrowers 6, the Growlers 5. We'll take a break here and listen to these messages from our sponsors on 11 Sports.
Remember, everybody, if you're hungry, you can get nice warm food at La Catrina Taqueria truck down at the south end of the stadium. You can get some snacks and other refreshments from the California Roll tent right next to the Flamethrowers merch tent. Remember to please visit also the EBIA booth if you're interested in some of their discs or learning about the East Bay Innovation Academy. Again, we want to thank our partners. We have
second quarter of action then from Laney College will be underway here in just a moment. The Flamethrowers, though, thanks to Vincenzo Vitiello's 2 goals and contributions from Alex Grande, Jacob Greenberg, Alexander Max, and Andrew Berry, have a 6-5 lead here after a period.
And Vitiello also leading on assists. He's got 2 in the first quarter as well.
He's almost his output this season: 3 goals, 2 assists, 2 Ds, but 2 goals, 2 assists already today. Talk about,
well, somebody had to step up, right?
Exactly.
There's they're lacking a lot of impact players, so here's an opportunity for some other guys that maybe they regard themselves as the impact player. Maybe they think they're the best guy on the team. Here's their chance to prove it.
If you coach Josh Greeno, though, you have to be impressed with how your team has responded, considering, I mean, I hate to say it, but last week was a real show of where the Rush are currently at.
Yeah, the Rush are very, very
good.
Defending
champions for a reason.
Yeah. Well, when we talked to Coach Greenow early in the season, I think the analogy he used is he doesn't know what kind of car he has nor how to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's going to be this game. If they steal this one, I think both these teams might be regarding this game as a game that they can steal. I don't think either one necessarily came in confident enough to think like we're so much better than these guys, we should win. They both probably feel like they're going to have to earn it. So far, it's been a bit of a rock fight in the first quarter.
Jartok draws the double team, dumps it out to Nick Schlag.
This is this 2-3-2 zone. A 2-3-2 zone refers to how the defenders are stacked. There's going to be 2 guys that are sort of harassing the handlers. There's going to be a wall of 3, and then there's going to be 2 more guys downfield. They're out of it now. They just put it into place to take them off their pull play if they had one set. So now they're in man, but someone forgot to cover somebody.
Schlag does really well to pick up that low throw from Gaval, and now the Flamethrowers with room to work with on the far side. Here's Greenberg.
Nice little push pass.
Now Chartok could set the tempo from here. Has Schlag to his left.
Nice D.
Have to hurry this up. Throws the blade in for Gaval.
Nice defense from the dump defender and the marker who work together. The marker takes away the flat throw to the middle of the field, and the dump defender really overplays and stops anything going straight back.
So no goal there for Gival as the stall count was called on Chartok, and it's a really disappointing conclusion to that particular sequence of play. Now Hume has the disc to Turner. And now to Milatovic.
They want to try to keep it on the upwind side, as we've talked about. So they're not going to – the Flamethrowers defenders in this case are probably going to let their man run to the downwind side and not attack it all that aggressively and really try to prevent anything working to the upwind side. Upwind is up here.
Greenberg called for the foul there on Milatovic. Hume sends this one forward. Will it stay up long enough? And it does. The two-handed catch there for Nate Page with his first goal of the night, his third of the season.
That's a great throw. Was that Milatovic that threw that? I think it was.
Let's wait to the replay.
Let's watch the replay, indeed. Let's find out who it was. Number 9.
No, it's
That's
Hume.
Hume. This is a really nice throw right in the breadbasket. Little bend on it, little outside-in bend. That corner earlier in the day was just a tornado.
We were down there watching Greenberg
really windy.
warming up this afternoon.
Really windy. So it's either it's not. I don't think it's dying down necessarily, but if you're on the downwind side of the field, you just want to be judicious on when you're putting up forehands. That's a 30, 25 yarder. That's okay. He's not going to get yelled at for his coach. Even if that was turned over, he's not going to get yelled at. If you start to extend that out to, taking 40 or 50 yard shots, you might have your coach grab you by the collar and talk to you about it.
6-6 the score. And Chartok has it for San Francisco. Aggressively defended there by Michael Tran. Over to Schlag. BTL to his right.
Looks like a straight-up mark. A straight-up mark is going to be where they're standing directly in front of the thrower. They're not really forcing a side, per se. They're forcing it so they don't have an easy shot up the middle of the field.
Chartok there with a mistake on the throw to Greenberg. And the Growlers capitalized with a goal for Wes Groth, who already has a hat trick for San Diego. And Chartok, who has a 97% completion rate coming into today's game, wishes he could have had that throw to Jacob Greenberg.
I really want to show folks this replay because this is a really nice throw from Michael Tran. This is an outside-in backhand with a lot of bend on it. He's going to watch the bend on this thing. See the angle of approach on that disc? So he's going to, good throwers, I sometimes draw analogies to being baseball pitchers because you can control a lot of what a Frisbee does. You can control the path of the disc. You can control the speed at which it travels. So that's a really, really nice throw. Good example of controlling the speed and path of the disc and putting it where a defender's not going to have a chance to make a play on it.
So the Growlers, having been down 6-5 at the end of one, have now scored 2 consecutive goals to take the 7-6 lead. Another short pull coming from the east end of the field. And Chartok will look to atone for his throwing area.
Coming back out in their zone, back in this 2-3 zone. It worked, 2-2 zone worked before, and it works again.
And a drop by Andrew Barry.
He was definitely blinded with the sun. You could see him holding up his hand there, trying to shield his eyes.
Hammer throw might have caught him off guard, too.
Yeah, it was a scuba. It's an upside-down throw that's kind of traveling right through the path of the sun. And we're both up in the booth watching right now. We've got hats on because the sun is pretty tight, pretty fierce. Nice cross-field hammer from Chartok.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Now to Barry. Barry continues his run.
Big fake. Oh, wow. Chartok is uncovered.
Chartok and corks one looking for Gival, and it's
through the goalpost. That's a field goal.
Just uncorked a little too much there for Gival, who was wide open there in the end zone as he had beaten Milatovic quite handily.
Well, that's the time when to beat a zone is during the transition from zone to man. And there's that sun. Anything that's going to cross through there is really, really, really hard to see. You're going to be staring right in the sun, especially something like a scuba or a hammer that tends to travel up and then down. If you have to look back into the sun, it's going to be very difficult. You can see those shadows getting long. The sun's going to probably not be much of a problem here in, I'd say, 30 or 40 minutes,
I was going to
maybe.
say 35 minutes.
Usually when the sun goes down, that also means the wind dies down, too.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what I alluded to earlier in the broadcast, where the conditions definitely do change here at Laney.
A lot.
So timeout call, and the Growlers with a 7-6 lead.
Well, we talked about, before the broadcast started, asking the question of how much do they have in the tank. One of the ways you can maintain some of that energy is by playing zone defense, because you're not chasing a man around the field so much. You're really defending an area. And the parts of the field that you're responsible for are going to be, maybe a 15 or 20 yard box or something like that. So you don't have to worry about really burning your guys out. It's smart for two reasons, especially in these conditions. One, if you have kind of a tired team, you only make a couple guys run. So this is a great example of this. Let's hold this right here. So here's the 2 and the 2. They're the 2 markers. They're going to hand off any throws that work back or forth. Then here's your 3. Those guys are kind of forming a wall. And then you can't see them downfield, but there's 2 more guys that are basically playing free safety. And as this disc swings back and forth, these markers are going to hand off. One of them is going to mark depending on which half of the field it's on, and the other one's going to like slough off in the lane. So the guys that are working the hardest are the markers. You can cycle through those guys. They're not you don't want to have the same 2 guys in all the time, or they will die.
So following the timeout call by the Growlers, we should be back to the action here momentarily. And it's Tim Okita, former member of the Street Gang team down there.
Immediately get to the upwind side. Smart.
Throws off Schofstein there. Back to Okita.
That's lefty. See, Okita's left-handed, so he's going to present some different challenges for his markers. Because he can throw an around forehand break pretty easily.
Travis Dunn on the move.
Wow,
Corks this one. Looking for Ham, and Ham with a 2-handed catch. Back to the middle now for Cole. Ham is being covered by Schofstein right on the edge of the end zone. Milotovic has the disc, fakes out his man. That's done. Back to Milotovic.
Here's that continuation. Not there. Oh, wow.
Okita back inside, and it's through the hands of Michael Tran, who really did have a good chance.
He had a good shot at it,
hand.
but that disc, he's open. He needs to make that play. Instead, he puts it over his head a little too far. Nice crossfield hammer.
Schofstein.
Kind of a scrambled defense here for San Diego. You can see guys pointing to other guys to pick people up.
Here's Kirkland.
Looking a little tired right now, to be honest.
Phil Chang. Oh, that throw is... Oh, had an opportunity to be caught twice there by the Flamethrowers. Initially by Kirkland and then Skylar Taylor. But neither player could come up with it. A let off there for the Growlers, perhaps. That's a one-handed catch on the run there by Travis Dunn. He unleashes this one on a
I'm amazed there's not a foul called there. There's the call. Okay.
I was going to say, because Max Parham went clattering into Scott Radlow at that time.
Well, head ref, Miss Rozelle there, Mirozel is going to let this play out. He's not going to call this dead because he doesn't want to disadvantage the offense. The offense gets clobbered there. He has a shot to catch that goal there. There's no point in calling it dead. And a quick goal out of the break.
And it's Tim Okita with his first goal of the evening, his 6th of the season. And San Diego now have a 2-goal lead. Eight 8-6, the Growlers in command here at Laney College. We'll be back after this.
Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green. Family owned, Gray's Paints is the Bay Area's leading provider of Benjamin Moore paint, stains, and finishes. Gray's Paint will provide you unparalleled paint expertise, environmentally friendly products, and premium customer service to help you successfully navigate your project. Gray's Paint and Benjamin Moore, available at 4 Bay Area locations: Burlingame, San Mateo, Redwood City, and Menlo Park. Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green.
As a look at San Diego's Growlers coach, Kevin Stewart, in his 4th season at the helm.
He's pulled a couple of cards out of his vest today that seem to be paying off. Coming out of that 2-3-2 zone is definitely giving the Flamethrowers some trouble.
Yo Campbell Oka has the disc for the Flamethrowers. Now to Chartok.
Their man here.
Gavall has not been super involved in the game so far, but he has a chance to get an assist on the board here as he sends this one looking for Barry, who makes a catch. And we were just about to say, Rubes, that this is similar to how things went in the second quarter against the Toronto Rush. It was a hot start from the Flamethrowers. Things kind of cooled off a little bit. That's their first goal of the second quarter,
wow.
And they really needed that.
They really needed that. The Growlers definitely have had an opportunity here. They could be easily up 2 or 3 goals here. Instead, the Flamethrowers pull it within 1. This is the thing about this throw is that Gavol could run under it, and his defender is on his back and left behind him. When it was first thrown to Gavol, it was actually thrown past him. So he puts his head down and keeps running. What I said earlier, you never give up on a throw in Ultimate because Frisbees have a tendency to float. In that case, he's got, we call it power position, where your defender is completely out of the picture. You've got all your momentum pushing forward. So he just steps into an easy backhand.
Gavall, that was his 4th assist on the season. He already has 10 goals. He had just 14 goals and 13 Ds last season, but he's definitely stepped up as, of course, one of the 3 captains in this 2018 edition of the Flamethrowers. But the goal by Barry now has trimmed the lead to 1. Sean Ham. Now to Tran.
Not much happening downfield here for the San Diego Cutters.
Well, let's come back to that.
Well, there goes Ham.
I was just about to say, are you surprised that Sean Ham has not been more involved in this game so far? But he catches a huck downfield and sends it across for the goal for Ryan Slaughter. That's his first goal of the night and of the season.
That's Sharfstein covering Ham, I believe, which I find, no, it's actually, I'm sorry, it's number 1, who is also new to the team.
Max Parham.
Parham. I don't know if I would have a guy who has just arrived cover, arguably, the other team's best goal scorer. Ham just ran by him and was open by 20 yards or so before that throw went up. So they might want to sort out their assignments a little bit.
That's why I was watching this cut downfield, and I thought, well, I was about to say Ham hasn't had that much involvement. Rubes, why? And then
and I'm saying there's not much happening downfield from the
Ham gets wide open.
Oh yeah, we look like real professionals up here right now, don't we?
It is worth noting, though, the sun has gone behind a rather large cloud, so for now the sun may not be a factor for another 15, 20 minutes or so. Let's see if that'll change the fortunes of the Flamethrowers. Now down by 2 once again. Chartok unleashes this one, looking for Gavall. And Gavall really times his leap well. That is spectacular. He's looking for Barry now. Can Barry get there for the catch? And he can. Andrew Barry, his 2nd score of the quarter. But what a leap by Leo Gavall.
Great catch. Fantastic. That is very clearly a string. That's going to be a play where you call the first 4 people that are going to touch it. So you know that Chartov's got the big gun, throws a floating backhand. Gavol really makes an excellent read on this, because number 6 is in position. Wow, catches it at the top. And then it's an easy one from there.
It makes me think back to the conclusion of the opening game of the season here against the Spiders, when it was Zakaro going up against Cohen, and how Zakaro had established the better positioning going up for the disc. That time, even though Gavall was at a disadvantage, he was still able to find his way in there.
Well, part of it is because if you're a defender and you're chasing your guy and the disc really tracks directly over the back of your head, you don't know where it is. And you could see the San Diego defender looking around. Gavall had sight on it the whole time. Plus, and this is never to be overlooked, it was thrown to him. That makes a big difference.
Barry, by the way, now has a hat trick with a goal in the first period of play and 2 here in the second. There's a look at the aforementioned cloud.
Weird weather today.
Yeah, it is. It's unseasonably cool spell of weather we've had here in the East Bay, especially today and into tomorrow. I mean, temperatures usually at this time of year low to mid 70s.
Yeah, quite a bit warmer.
Of day, but sure the players out on the field are not minding the slightly cooler temps here so far today. Gutkowski has it. Now it's a Ham.
Seen a lot of double teams from the Flamethrowers. You kind of get the sense that there might be a little growing desperation here. You know, don't let them look at the same defense the whole game. Make your opposition think a little bit.
Have noticed, though, that they've put Skylar Taylor now on Sean Ham. Ham in the middle of the field, right around the 15-yard line on the football field. Meanwhile, back to the action over on the far side. Michael Tran has the plastic. He'll receive it once again.
They're pretty comfortable just keeping it on that upwind side. They're not going to sort of give in to temptation here.
Okita made that a little tougher for growth than it needs to be. Now done.
Oh, that's...
Will.
Wow, I thought that was going out of bounds.
Yeah, I did too. Nicely done there by Gutkowski to keep that in play.
You see Max on the mark there. He's really overcommitting to the around break, so he's really trying to keep it on the downwind side, and there's the double team.
Back to Okita. Gutkowski and Okita exchange passes. Okita, a little room to work with now. Sharfstein comes in. Bidding for that unsuccessfully was Cameron Beck, and
that's Naruo, actually.
Naruo, excuse me.
Yeah,
the robot.
Yep, robot. He's wearing Beck's jersey today. He makes a bid here, misses it, and then gets up. Oh boy, that's close. That is a bang play, but the ref's there to call it as a foul.
So a couple of calls have gone against the Flamethrowers on this possession. Now down on the near side.
San Diego's playing with fire a little bit here.
Oh, good throw from Radlau.
That's
it's done
good.
in open space. Now to Gutkowski over to Sean Ham, and he has his first goal.
There's that continuation we were talking about earlier. If we can replay this from where the disc leaves the sideline, it starts out trapped on the sideline, and that's sort of textbook ultimate offense right there. You get the first you break the mark on the first throw, and then you just march it right down the throat of the defense to the break side. It's going to be 3 consecutive breaks. He's going to inside out break here, followed by, now they're marching, now they're just running it up the break side. Bang, 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 goal. Once the first break gets off, as a defender, you really need to overcommit, get your mark, get your body in position where you push the disc back the direction it's just come. Otherwise, you have plays like that, where one break results in what is basically an easy goal.
Sean Ham quiet last night, no goals. One tonight, that's his 168th goal in his glittering career.
Glittering
here in
indeed.
The AUDL. 51 goals in 2015, part of that Spiders championship winning team. 57 goals in 2016. But we'll take a short break, and we'll be back with more here from Laney in a moment.
Coffee Company, the best local coffee roasters in East Bay. Kinetic Art Center, circus, fitness, and inspiration. Minuteman Press of Berkeley, great community partner and fantastic local printing. Oakland United Beer Works, the best beer is local craft beer. And Cliff Bar for the healthy and active player. Grab a Cliff Bar and eat healthy.
At halftime, make sure to stick around to watch the demonstration scrimmage from the East Bay Innovation Academy Ultimate Team and our free raffle. That's all at halftime, folks.
$10-8 to score here, 3:16 to go in the first half of play. The Growlers, after being down 6-5 at the end of one, have taken command here in the second quarter of play. Let's see what the Flamethrowers O-line can do. Chartalk has the plastic. Now out wide to Nick Schlag.
Okay, it's another sort of junky zone here. You see number 14 there sort of playing in the middle. Sort of in Ultimate, the people that are around the thrower in her zone is referred to as a cup because it's kind of cup shape.
Right. Vitiello.
Typically, zone is played under windy conditions, but in the AUDL, the field is so big, there's always a big risk that if the cup gets broken, it's off to the races.
VTL threads that one through. Nicely hauled in there by Schlag.
Ooh,
And now Chartok.
Gavol is wide open.
Gavol can't time this one quite as well. Bidding and making the catch is Schlag. Wow.
Wow. Look at him. He's breathing a little heavy there. Nick Schlag. Take him off the shelf and dust him off, and he comes out and lay out goal on a trailing pass that gets tapped. Wow. Chartok is unmarked, and he's definitely going to take his shots given any opportunity, especially driving a backhand. This gets D'd. Schlag does not give up on it. Great throw. Great catch.
Great catch. Outstanding stuff.
Gavol was tremendously open. And the way that, considering that San Diego has been bringing the zone down here, Chartov knows that you really kind of need to take your shots when you get your opportunities. So it gets to him. The defense is a little scrambled. Maybe they're in a transition to man. He has no marker. I guarantee he is tunneling deep. If he sees anybody open, he's going to take that 50-50 shot, because the worst thing that happens is the team then has to march down 80 yards the opposite direction.
Flamethrower is needed. A spark plug, and they got it there from Schlag on his AUDL debut, no less.
Oh, wow, and then a little grass burner there.
And all of a sudden, now the Flamethrowers have a chance to tie it up at 10. They can. It's Cullen Coyne with his first goal of the season, and the Flamethrowers are level here with 2:10 to go in the first half of play.
Wow. Quite a turn there, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
It was starting to feel to me a little bit like maybe a Growler road victory was in the making here, but Flamethrowers coming out and keeping it together and getting it done.
Coach Greeno all the way out on the field to give instructions here on the pull. And it's going to be Cody Kirkland who...
He just threw that goal, too.
Got the assist on the goal.
Got the assist, excuse me. I don't love the term assist. I wish there was another statistic for that, because I don't think assist really gives you a clear enough impression of what is actually going on.
So that will veer sharply out of bounds.
Typically when you roll it out, you're going to throw some kind of junky defense, a double team or something of that nature.
So here is Hume.
Nice break.
To Parisi. Dunn is making a cut deep. So they come inside to Ham. And Ham shakes away his defender there. That was Brandon Canizato. Ham will continue his run. Canizato gives chase. Hume has it. Hume back to the middle now for Tran.
There it is.
Tran around to Dunn, who makes the catch for the score. Travis Dunn scores his first of the day, his 9th of the season overall.
Once again, the disc starts trapped on the downwind side. A single around break mark throw then results in an easy goal. So if your defenders are tired or a little slow, what happens is once that first break goes off, look out. Well, actually, that goal was probably even a little harder than it needed to be. It sort of bent and hung, and the receiver was tremendously open in the end zone. So good for the Growlers there. They just, you have two sort of spectacular plays not go your way, and then you walk out and march down and score an easy one. What I said earlier about how both these teams feel like they need to earn it, I think the Growlers might be thinking that this is their game now. If I was on the field with these guys, I'd be thinking, we got this.
Surely after last night,
yeah,
they think that this is not another chance. They want to go begging here on their two-day trip to the Bay.
Here's that 2-3-2 zone, but instead they come out and double team. They've been sort of sloughing off previously.
BTL made a strong cut downfield. He was wide open. They try to get it over to Gavol in the middle. Chartok needs to dump it off, which it does.
Part of the reason why a lot of these guys are going to look wide open is because there's actually someone who's playing in that zone of the field. So they may look open, but in reality there's someone who's tracking that cutter. Oop, now we have a jailbreak.
They keep it in play. They can. Flamethrowers working to the far side. Here's Greenberg looking for Gavol.
This is sort of the coverage is not set here. The transition from zone to man is where the defense is the most vulnerable.
Schlag does well. That's to shake the attentions of Gutkowski. He's trying to get it back to Chartok, who bids and somehow reels it in. Now Chartok will make a cut, and this will hang up, and it's caught by Gavall for the score, his first goal of the day.
That was not to him.
No.
That was to Chartok. So Schlag starting to fill up the stat sheet a little bit there. The goal, and now the assist.
Holding back the years, huh?
So here's Schlag with the disc. This is to Chartok. Chartok had beaten his man up line. Ooh, this is a great catch from Chartok on the kind of a zingy inside out. There he goes. He's open. There he goes. Open line. And it drifts past him. I think when you're that open, you just assume the disc is going to come right to you. And you could see he's a little bit wrong-footed there, and it comes over his head. Gavall's having a good game.
Yeah. Couple of assists.
Yeah, a couple of assists in addition. Well, let's think of something. Let's see if we can come up with something new by the time we end this broadcast. Something that makes more sense.
Trying to figure that out at halftime here. We are approaching halftime. The score 11-11, and Radlau, who perhaps hasn't had quite the impact I expected him to have, based on what I've been reading about him here in my prep this week, makes a mistake. And now the Flamethrowers have taken a timeout with 32.5 remaining in the first half of play. So will we see a repeat of the end of the first quarter here, perhaps, for the Flamethrowers?
Well, they're at the 50, and they have a lot more time.
Right.
So they can be certainly more patient and, get the disc in the hands of the person that they want to have it in a position that they want to have it.
The usual suspects are in there. Barry, Chartok, Gavall.
There goes Schlag's coming out, the new offensive spark plug. There. Get that Nick Schlag guy out there.
When Greg Cohen comes back, he's going to have to ask for his jersey back, huh? It did take a little getting used to looking down at my roster and having Greg Cohen scratched out.
They couldn't look more different either.
That's true.
Greg Cohen's like, 6'2", 190 or something like that? He's a big boy.
As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, going through the concussion protocol, so wish him all the best. He had in week 1 collision in the third quarter with 4 players collided, and then last week I was here order and for second, and the next thing I know, Cohen's on the deck, and that was the end of his game against the Rush, and safe to say in hindsight, but making point throwers kept it closer, really couldn't compete with what Toronto had, and boy, they show why they're the 2013 AUDL champs. Jay Boychuk had 9 goals, 2 assists. Ben Burrell 5 goals and 4 assists.
Burrell
His mom was
that
here.
guy is the truth, boy.
Yeah.
He's right? He's got to be 5'7", but I don't know how he can be as prolific a goal scorer at that height. It's just amazing.
6 goals. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That line was crazy. Bretton Tan, Isaiah Massick Kelly, both with 60s apiece. Gavall's going to give Chase makes the catch for his second goal of the quarter.
All right, I want to see this replay. Actually run a play here. Ultimate plays don't look like football plays, but there's some similar concepts where you create other space to run into. And what they're going to do, Chartok's got the disc and he can reach the end zone with 1 throw. So they're going to run a play where they set 2 people down to sort of the downwind side of the field. If it's a line, if you count from 1, 2, 3, 4 from left to the close side of the left here. You unfortunately can't see the cut. Here they go. They're going to clear the middle. There's our 2 clearing. That level wide open. So what they do is those 2 pocket for Gavall to run into. And you see 4 people in front of you, and you're assuming, oh, maybe I'll get a little bit of help there. Maybe they're not going to aim at that part of the field. Well-executed play and very...
So now we'll have 25 seconds or so to tie this one up going into the half. He might have got a chunk of that. It was Vitiello. It was with here. Kirkland somehow was able to one to Skylar Taylor.
There to break the double team.
Timeout is called.
Wow, another timeout. That's why you keep for just such an emergency.
12 remaining here in the first half of play.
That we have some fatigue starting to catch up with San Diego.
We're going to take a break. Come back here from Laney in just a moment's time.
Please reset the clock. 2.5 seconds.
Look down at the track, everybody, the EDIA. Getting ready to go.
After those two clutch.
Sorry, folks, it's a TV timeout right now. We're trying to get done.
Welcome back to Laney. Final 15 seconds of Flamethrowers. Can they take a 2-goal lead going into the half? Gavall loses his, cuts back towards Chartok with the disc. Seconds on the clock. Finds an open play. Greenwood. This is his first. So how about the contribution, the subs in this second quarter?
Absolutely.
Play. Greenwood with a goal
on assist.
Just 2 seconds left.
Wow.
But just about the time off the clock to prevent the Growlers from trying to score here at the end of the first.
We talked about Chartok coming in and sort of asserting. He is really running the offense. He's the second man out of every pull play. It's going to be the pull's going to get caught to him, and then he's going to survey the field. Maybe he'll throw a break mark throw, but he's going to keep the.
So there was a point, perhaps, in this second period. Growlers, perhaps, were in the ascendancy in this game, but the flipped the script, and with that excellent pull now,
great pull, wow!
It's going to be Gutkowski. They're not going to have. It's going to be well shy of the target. The air horn sounds, and making the end it is Greenberg. But the Flamethrowers, coming off the tough defeat last go into the halftime against the San Diego Growlers 13-11 as the Flamethrowers look to make it consecutive victories. Let's take a break. The second half here from Laney in just a few minutes' time. Flamethrowers 13, Growlers 11. Back with the second half here on 11 Sports in just a moment's time.
There's setting up the field. We're going to field, the 10-yard, 40-yard field. I'm going to introduce the players in just a second.